Hello, and welcome to Just Shooting the Breeze with Tonya, where we talk about art, politics, empowerment, and love of life. I'm your host, Tonya.edmonds, and I created this show because I love talking with brilliant people who challenge me to help me see life a little differently. Today's guest is a longtime friend of mine, years. He is an artist and an activist from Brooklyn. He is a globetrotting producer, broker, poet, overall Renaissance man. MTkalla pretty much has his hands in everything. He is great with physics. He is great with art. He's great with real estate. With almost everything he touches turns to gold. He is just an amazing man and a very kind friend as well. I don't want to tell you too much about this interview, but you will be amazed at how much he knows about, how many things he knows about. He is really an amazing man. Okay, enjoy the show. Tell me about your upbringing. Tell me about your parents.
Both my parents from New York. Well, one of my pop is actually from Virginia, right? Okay. African American, grew up very poor, actually. My father and his brothers and sisters used to actually look for food in the garbage dump in a little town called Lunenburg County in Virginia. And he left Virginia when he was about 12 and came to New York and started to hustle and got up with some construction Irish cats in the 1970s.
He came by himself?
Yeah, he came by himself. He was actually, I mean, to tell the story, he was actually in a house where, I mean, growing up that poor, his parents would rent him out for $1 a day.
God.
And that's kind of crazy when you think about that and what he probably went through being rented out for $1 a day. But he was in a household where, you know, there was a man that was living with his mother and he was very abusive. And he went to his mother and he said, you know, this situation isn't really working for us. So, you know, either he leaves or I leave. And she said, well, get to stepping.
Oh, my God.
And he left and went to New York. I know, crazy, right?
That is crazy.
Yeah. So so he came up, he hooked up with some Irish cats in Brooklyn, and they got him into the union, the demolition union, and, you know, started doing demolition work in Manhattan. And funny story with him is that, you know, I think he got into some accident or something and broke his leg, and he had got a settlement. And this is the 1970s, and he was about to buy a Cadillac because, you know, what black man in the 70s in New York City doesn't want to buy a Cadillac? And so the Irish dude, his name was Jimmy Hickey, the Irish cat was like, you know, there are these houses in this neighborhood called Park Slope on sale for little or nothing. You should buy these houses. And my father was like, I don't really want to buy a house. And but Jimmy told him, you know, the kind of pros and cons of being a landlord. So he said, okay, I'm going to buy the houses. He said, well, if you're making a decision to buy the house, tell all your friends you're going to buy the house. Father told all his friends he's going to buy the house. Then he changed his mind. And he came to Jimmy and said, listen, Jimmy, I don't think I'm really built to be a landlord, so I'm not going to buy the house. I'm going to buy this Cadillac car. And so Jimmy was like, but you told all your friends you were going to buy the house.
He did that on purpose. Okay.
You know, my pop, you know, he's a proud man, so he followed through, bought those houses. And by the time he passed, those houses were worth a lot of money. Wow. So, you know, that's his story. And then my mom, you know, from Manhattan, grew up in Brooklyn, very proper. I grew up actually on public assistance. My house was, you know, full of crazy love. I never went to sleep without kissing my mom goodnight, no matter what was going on. And I know that may sound kind of corny, but like that consistent love and that consistent way that she kind of raised me to be a prince. Like even when we were growing up and we were going through challenging times, I would say, Ma, you know, are we always going to be this poor? I think she slapped me in the back of my head when I used the word poor, and she said, we're not poor. You know, you're a rich boy. You know, you got love, you got food, you got people that care for you. We may be financially embarrassed right now, but we're not poor. And that just changed my perspective. But the thing that was incredible about South Africa, though, was that, first of all, it was 1992, so it was right after Nelson Mandela was released. and we were part of the Black Student Union at Hunter College. And you know, the PE was hot, X-Clam was hot, the Rodney King thing either just happened or was about to happen.
Some
So the streets were, I mean, the streets is crazy when you think about how that was 25 years ago, and we're kind of going through the same exact thing right now with Ferguson and Baltimore and everything else. But we were very frustrated, and we wanted to figure out, like, where can we go in this world where there's actual fundamental change happening? And we were like, well, wouldn't it be great if we could go to South Africa?
Yeah, and not
then,
get killed?
Right. And then we got the money, we went to South Africa. And that changed my life.
Yeah.
I mean, and South Africa changed my life in one of the most simple ways in that we stayed at this dude's house named Jacob. And we were at Jacob's house for 2 days. So you, me, Reg, Asha. Reg is from the South Bronx, right? I'm from Brooklyn. So we're at, right? Nope, Rashid.
Oh, Rashid. Right.
And we're at this dude's house for 2 days, and this dude goes, well, I'm gonna go chill with my girl for about a week or so. So here are the keys to my house.
I couldn't believe it.
I'll see you in a week. And we're like, you giving us the keys to your house, and you met us 2 days ago?
Yeah, you don't do that in Brooklyn.
No. But that just showed me how open he was. And it taught me how to be open with my stuff. Because, like, what are we going to steal, really, from his house?
Yeah.
Like, everybody's living in their homes, and everybody's locking up their doors and afraid. But what are we really afraid of?
Yeah.
What can someone really take from? I mean, I know sometimes we have uncles and aunts and
Well,
cousins.
yeah.
Who, I'm not talking about them. I'm
Crack
talking about, like, regular,
is
like regular folk. Like, what are they really going to take from you? So, changed my life in terms of that. Also changed my life in terms of, I thought we were going to go to South Africa and, like, learn all this stuff about warfare or political strategy, but it was really more about culture. Like, all the songs were about freedom. All the dances were about freedom.
Everything.